Welcome to Illuminati Silver. We tell you the truth about silver. Today is Wednesday, the 18th of October, 2023. And in our sister channel, Finances Do Matter, we published a video a couple of hours ago asking the question, will gold rise to $2,000 this week? In that, we express our view and our opinion, which could catapult gold to that level. Therefore, if you've listened to that video at Finances Do Matter, there is no need to listen to this one. If, however, you have not, then enjoy. Yes, in my weekly update, I predicted that this week gold will predominantly trade between $1,900 and $2,000. with 1875 to 2025 as outliers. Well, today we've seen gold touch $1,946, which is up $20 on the day. I'll explain why in a few moments, but this 1946 is the highest level gold reached last week, and we're there already on Wednesday. So are we going to see a push up to $2,000? Well, let's look at some of the headlines which could ensure that we may. The headlines on Reuters, Bloomberg, and all of the main news today is Biden in Israel says hospital blast caused by militants. A massive blast at a Gaza hospital killed huge numbers of Palestinians, wrecking an emergency diplomatic mission by US President Joe Biden, who backed Israel's account that the explosion was caused by militants, not by Israel. And if we look at Bloomberg, we can see here Joe Biden is greeted by Benjamin Netanyahu in Tel Aviv on October the 18th. President Joe Biden suggested Israel was not responsible for a deadly blast at a Gaza City hospital that left hundreds dead and spiked tensions across the Middle East. Quote, he says, "I'm deeply saddened and outraged by the explosion at the hospital in Gaza yesterday. And based on what I've seen, that appears as though it was done by another team, not you," Biden told Israeli Prime Minister Benjamin Netanyahu. Biden added that there were a lot of people out there not sure about who was responsible, and that the leaders had work to do to convince skeptics who believed Israel was to blame. The two sides have traded accusations over the explosion, with Hamas blaming an Israeli air raid and Israel pointing to a video of what its military said was a malfunctioning rocket shot by Palestinian militants. Outrage over the incident led to the cancellation of a planned summit between Biden and Arab leaders following his visit to Israel. Now, we have to bear in mind that only just over a day or so ago, President Biden sent 2 nuclear submarines into the area, which is increasing tensions and which is why we are witnessing a spike in the price of gold. And looking at the BBC News this morning, Israel-Gaza, Biden's visit is a high-stakes gamble. For an American president, turning up in a war zone is an extraordinary move. Joe Biden's trip to the Middle East on Wednesday was always going to be a high-stakes gamble, but he is now flying into an even more volatile situation after the bombing of a hospital in Gaza that is thought to have killed hundreds of Palestinians. Hamas has blamed an Israeli airstrike, but Israel said that the blast at Al-Ali hospital was caused by rockets fired by Palestinian Islamic Jihad. Mr. Biden had planned to meet Israeli Prime Minister Benjamin Netanyahu in Tel Aviv and Arab leaders in Jordan. But just before Air Force One took off from Joint Base Andrews, the summit in Amman was suddenly cancelled. President Biden will have wanted to look like an honest broker dealing with both sides in the Middle East. He now faces the embarrassment of being told by the leaders of Jordan, Egypt and the Palestinian Authority that they have no confidence in his ability to end the violence, which they say is in breach of international law. There's no doubt whose side President Biden is on when it comes to the conflict between Israel and Hamas. Now look at this. Gold has jumped $20 today. Now, if we recall, at the end of last week, it ended at 1933. So it is only $10 higher than it was at Friday's close. It dipped, but it spiked back up, and it's been as high as 1946. This is in US dollar terms. In terms of the British pound, because we do have members who are from the United Kingdom, gold is the same price as it closed on Friday. But in terms of today's jump, it's gone up £12. And in terms of euros, since Friday's close, gold is exactly the same. Now, you may be asking, why is there the potential for gold to reach $2,000 this week? Well, the simple answer is there may be an escalation in what is going on here between Israel and Palestine. And therefore, or at least between Israeli troops and Hamas. So the irony is that US retail sales, which were announced yesterday, came in quite strongly at 0.7% against expectations considerably lower. And this would normally have a dampening effect on gold and silver prices, which it initially did on Tuesday, only to find ourselves now rising again today. Now, I don't necessarily see gold shooting above $2,000, but there is the distinct possibility if things continue to go out of control. Otherwise, quite frankly, we'd be seeing gold dip below $1,900. Oil prices are strengthening. The dollar index is still holding above 106. And we have concerns over the CPI data announced last week and strong retail sales. So all of this combined would have a downward effect. And if this was not the case, quite frankly, gold would already be at $2,000 today. At the beginning of November, the Fed will determine whether to raise interest rates or not. We suspect they won't, though we feel that they should. But notwithstanding any of this, if geopolitical tensions continue to rise, and we see more of these rather, shall I say, insurgent attacks, then we will witness $2,000 gold this week. How confident am I that this will occur? Well, how confident can anyone be as to how either the Israelis or the Palestinians will react to what has happened over the course of the last few days? That's it for now. There are no dead certs in the investment world, and we don't give investment advice. But certainly, it does appear at least that while this nonsense is going on, and with the, shall we say, the right wing of the US government basically stating that Hamas must be completely destroyed, and Biden having sent nuclear subs into the area, seriously does suggest that regardless of perhaps which side of the political spectrum, whether one side is actually keen that something is done, the other side, who may be less keen, may find themselves forced to do the very thing that the people on the right are demanding. And that in itself will cause gold and silver to surge. We're not there quite yet, but this is a warning. Beware, this could happen, and soon. Thank you for watching. Please give this video a thumbs up, subscribe, press the bell sign. If you haven't seen my weekly update, I've put a link in the description box below and in the comment section.